huge on how people treat my kids and my family. I've always wanted to be a dad. Ever since I was in college, I wanted to own my own construction company. The lesson I've learned is that every time I think that I'm at the happiest, I've learned that it just gets better.
All right, welcome to the Rad Dad Podcast. This is episode 54. I have Jacob Erekson here on the podcast. This is our first time meeting through a mutual friend, so super excited to just get to know you. Just to get started, talk to me a little bit about your upbringing and some of the highlights from your childhood.
I moved a ton. That's probably the most unique thing about me. So I was born in Magna.
Okay.
When I was 7, I moved. So I did kindergarten and first grade in Magna. Halfway through second grade, we moved. And then I did not go to the same school 2 years in a row until my junior year of high school.
Oh, wow.
And so we moved, whether we were moving state to state or we moved just within the state, or you go from elementary school to middle school and then middle school to high school. Yeah. Those jumps also helped in that. But yeah, I constantly moved. My dad was in aerospace, but he was not an engineer. He's like a draftsman is what we would call it now. So didn't have the education, but had all the experience. So he would get laid off whenever jobs finished. And then my mom has a major immune deficiency. And so insurance companies didn't like our family. So they would go tell the companies to lay my dad off because of that. So moved constantly. I grew up super poor, which has been, I think, a blessing in my life now moving forward. My parents do okay now and have been doing pretty decent since I was in high school. But yeah, kind of shaped who I was and who my brothers and sisters were. And it's kind of a cool story to be able to tell people that I can make friends real fast. That's
what I was just about to ask you. I'm like, you're either really good at making friends or you're just like super shy.
Yeah.
If you're moving around a lot, you
I think it's a little bit of both because you kind of, I have my family. Yeah. And my family is not all born by my parents. And so I have very close friends that are my friends. And then I have a lot of acquaintances, but my very close friends, my kids call them aunts and uncles and all that kind of stuff, and have hung around since. Some of them are from when I was in middle school. So it's just, you keep the good ones and you realize that the drama is not important. So it was a good lesson to have growing up, was to not have to worry about that kind of stuff.
When did you realize moving around that much wasn't normal?
Oh man, honestly, it was the year that I went to the second year of high school, my junior year. It was where my mom has shared this story with me before, but when we were living in San Antonio, Texas. It was coming to the end of my freshman year, so just about to start the summer. I looked at my mom, I guess, and I was like, "It's time for us to move again." And she was like, "What?" And I was like, "We're moving." And it wasn't even in the discussion at the time. Yeah. And my dad got a really nice job up at Boeing up in Seattle, and we up and went to the other side of the country and moved up to Seattle that summer, August 1st. And the next year is when I realized, I was like, "Oh, this is kind of nice. Like I get my friends get to be my friends still." And then I'd met a girl who her family had lived in the same house since before she was born, and she was in high school with me. And I remember thinking, this is the weirdest thing ever. Like, how could you possibly live in a house, and like, how is that fun to live in a house your entire life? But then I realized that I was the one that was weird.
So did you play sports?
I did. I was a pretty serious soccer kid.
Okay.
We lived in California for a little bit when I was younger, and I had a big, huge trophy. We got second place in whatever our U was at the time. I think we were U10 or 11 in the entire state of California. So we won Southern California. I went to a tournament to play for Northern California, and we lost that game. And so I was a pretty good soccer player there. When we moved from California to San Antonio, it's a completely different caliber of player. And we were poor. So the travel teams and all the stuff that we do with our kids now, that was just kind of maybe starting. Yeah. We had levels of club as opposed to a lot of travel teams. But we couldn't afford the teams. I made a couple teams that they were hundreds of dollars a month for the trainers that they were bringing out of Europe to come and coach us. And so,
isn't that how California is too? Kind of like their
they are
youth
now.
sports are crazy.
Yeah, they are now. But yeah, we couldn't afford it. So I ended up playing on some rec teams until high school. And then in high school, we played on my high school team. I think they'd won state. We were 6A and we'd won state. I want to say we were like 6-7 years in a row. So we were pretty dominant. My freshman year, so at the end of my freshman year, the kids that graduated, there were 4 kids from our team that went and played on the US U18 national team.
Wow.
And they all had full rides for soccer. So our school was pretty serious with soccer. And so I did that until we moved to Seattle, and Seattle soccer was completely different. So ended up falling away.
Were they playing lacrosse?
No, man, but I am diehard lacrosse.
Are you? It's pretty big out there, isn't it?
It's getting big. It wasn't big before. Yeah, I'm a Gen Xer, so I'm a little bit older. And so when I was in San Antonio on the soccer team in high school, I had a buddy who was like, I play lacrosse. And we were all like, you're a loser. Like, what the heck's lacrosse?
Yeah.
And we thought it was field hockey with like a stick on the ground. And he would try to explain it to us. And now when I talk to my kids, I'm like, I wish I would have played. It's such a better sport. I love it.
It's still making its way into Utah. Still growing at least, but
it's growing, but the kids here are dominating. We have some now in the high school levels. We have some kids that, we had Bubba Fairman, if you know lacrosse. He's now a PLL player, but he's kind of the highlight that everybody talks about. He went to Maryland, was a number 1 recruit out of in Maryland, but since then there's quite a few kids that are coming out of here and going and playing.
Interesting.
There's a lot of better. The club opportunities are huge now in Utah.
Yeah. Huh. So growing up, did you have a pretty good relationship with your dad?
Yeah. He wasn't my favorite as a teenager. I am a mama's boy, 100%. Love my mom to today. She's one of my best friends. I wouldn't say that I had a bad dad. My dad was a great example for me. And he didn't push us too hard in sports. He let us be as hard as we wanted to be. I played baseball as well until, what was it? 6th grade, 7th grade, I played baseball, and I was our pitcher, and my dad was a pitcher when he was a kid. And so he blames it on me to this day, but he says his knees are bad because he'd come home from work and catch, and I would just throw as many balls as I could with him, and he would coach me through pitching as in Little League. And so, he was a great dad. So
yeah. Do you have any memories growing up where the thought came to your mind or something similar where you're like, my dad's pretty cool?
No, man, it wasn't until I was older.
Yeah.
I think you take a lot of it for granted.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was having kids and seeing him with my kids. I'm huge on how people treat my kids and my family. And even grandparents. And so it's been some topics of discussion with my wife of how my parents treat our kids versus how her parents treat our kids. And my dad is definitely, they've recently moved here from Seattle. They live here now in Harriman. And if I called him right now and said, hey, we got a game in an hour, and he looks and he's like, it's almost 10 o'clock. Like, I'll be there. I can be there in 45 minutes. So
that's awesome.
He's always there to support and love my kids as much as we do.
Yeah. I had a good relationship with my dad growing up, but man, you really just don't know what your parents did for you until you have kids.
Oh yeah.
And people can talk to me. If you don't have kids, don't talk to me about parenting.
Oh, 100%.
It's one of those things where you just don't know until you do it, right? Like, I don't know if you've seen this, but people post like that they're a dog parent or a pet parent. I'm like, no, don't even put that in the same realm. It drives me nuts. But the appreciation you feel. My oldest is only 5, but the ways he's tested my patience, I'm like, I don't know how my dad didn't kill me at some point.
Yes. My dad, I feel like, has wanted to kill me multiple times. It's the biggest insight though is because I have 3 and mine are older. So my youngest is 15, and she is a battle. She's way harder than any of my other kids have ever been. But they're all so different. And so as a kid,
Yeah.
you're like, why can my brother do this and my sister can do that and I'm not allowed to do that? And they're saying the exact same thing. Like,
Yeah.
why is he getting away with this and I never got away with that? And then when you're a parent, you're like, it's because you guys are completely different.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but you are.
Yeah. So do you remember the first time you had the thought of yourself becoming a dad?
I've always wanted to be a dad.
Nice. Love it.
I remember I had a girlfriend my freshman year. My girlfriend, we thought we loved each other like everybody does when you're, what was that, 14 or 15? 14. Mm-hmm. And so I'd always be like, yeah, I want to have 12 kids, you know? And then reality hits when you actually get to that stage of life, and 3 was more than enough. But ever since then, I remember like I've always wanted to be, I mean, even younger than I was, you know, it's when I'm a dad, I'm never going to make my kid do this. And so it's like, I always envisioned being a parent.
Yeah. Talk to me about a lesson that you think you've learned that you wouldn't have learned outside of fatherhood.
I think it's the differences. It's you can't learn how to function with a different person. Like there's so many times that you look politically, you look at the world and you go, I don't know why you can't just see what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And my kids have all been raised exactly the same. We like to think as close as possible. And they're all so different, and they look at things so different. I mean, their core principles, I believe, are very in line with each other, but they still envision school with different degrees of importance and sports with different degrees of importance, and being social. They're all very different levels of being social with others. And I don't think I would have ever learned that because I think that I'm too closed-minded, where I'm just like, I don't understand why are you guys ridiculous and you don't understand, you know, it's obvious to everyone. And then it's my kids that are helping teach me to be a better person and to actually look at other perspectives.
Yeah.
Because of that. So I don't think I would have learned that any other way.
What would you tell yourself if you could go back and talk to yourself, you know, for 2 minutes in that first 3 to 5 years of fatherhood?
It all works out. I think so my oldest is married, and my wife and I have.
You do not look like you have a kid that's old enough to be married.
I have a 23-year-old son, who's married married an absolute sweetheart. And my wife and I seriously tease them that we're like, man, we want a grandbaby so bad because I think you just want another shot at it because you took it so serious when they were little.
Yeah.
And 5, that's when life starts to really get serious. Until then, you can relax a little bit. And I think that
What do you mean by serious?
We wanted our oldest to be the first one to walk. We want him to be the first one to talk. We wanted all those milestones that you look for as a parent. We pushed them, but you don't stop when they start to walk and talk. We pushed them all the way through high school, and you learn a little bit better and you get a little bit smarter. But once you get past yours and you're looking at other people's, especially your grandkids, so what we're hoping is that, like, I look at friends of ours that have little kids that we know, and I'm like, it's not that important. Them throwing food at, you know, they're eating mac and cheese off the table at Red Robin. It doesn't matter that they're making a mess.
Tell the wives that, though.
Yeah, you can't tell your wife that. But grandma doesn't care. Grandma's like, this is great. We're all having a great time. And in reality, though, that kid's not going to remember that. My kids are like, my daughter, we moved here when she was 4 and from Portland. And she's like, I don't remember life not being in Utah.
Yeah.
And so you get to screw up a little bit for a few years as a parent. It's something to remember as when you have young kids is you're going to learn it. You're going to screw up and do your best, and they forget for a reason. Yeah.
I've been thinking a lot lately, like, you know, 20 years, I really hope that I can look back and say I gave it my all in fatherhood, and, you know, look at my kids and really feel like I did a good job.
Yeah.
Where are you at with that?
I don't know, dude, I'm pretty cocky. I think I did a great job.
That's fine.
You
should be. Because it takes effort.
It does. You know? I think I could have done better in some areas, but for the most part, my kids are great. They're all on different planes of what they do. but I think that I don't think I could have done a better job. I could have done a different job, but I think that every one of my kids would be exactly where they're at right now, as long as I tried my hardest at it and showed them. They just need to know that you love them and you support them. That's the
Yeah.
main thing, and it's how you get them to know that and that they have that from you. Then they do a lot on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, we were definitely very involved. We were not helicopter parents by any means, but I mean, now, dude, it's so.
Were you snowplow parents? Have you heard that one?
No, what's that?
It's like the new generation of parents where instead of a helicopter, they're a snowplow. So they just get all the hardship out of the way for their kids.
Oh man, maybe a little bit, but not a ton. You want to, but
Yeah.
then you look back at your life and you have to go, I didn't have that.
Growth doesn't happen in that space.
No, and we didn't have phones when I was a kid, so
Yeah.
nothing was recorded, and we got to make tons of mistakes as kids to learn. And our parents were there, but they let us make mistakes for the most part, and many times they don't bail you out. So, like, I remember I had just gotten out of the car. We were 15, driving my buddy's mom's van around town, so no licenses, hanging out as kids, and I had just gotten dropped off, and my two buddies and the girl that we had still in the car, they get pulled over, and the parents went and picked them up, but they didn't bail them out. And so you have to let them suffer instead of going in and blaming whoever busted them for doing what they were doing wrong. You can't blame the institution. You have to let your kids suffer a little bit. So we try to do that as much as possible, but I think that maybe with our last one, she's in high school right now, we probably snowplow a little bit.
So you mentioned a little bit earlier that you have pushed your kids.
Oh, yes.
How do you find that balance? Because I know, like, athletically and academically, me and my siblings were pushed very hard to the point where there is some resentment, right? How do you feel like you found that or didn't find that balance?
So my wife and I had come to an agreement very early on in being parents so my wife came from a non-sports family. Her dad doesn't watch football, doesn't watch sports at all, and he would rather read his scriptures, right? And so very religious background. My mom was always the one that was doing the books at the baseball games to give everybody their stats. My dad pushed us a little bit in sports, but he also enjoys religion and studying. And so he had a pretty good balance. My wife was a lot into band and choir and the arts, and I did not grow up in that. And so we had to come to an agreement because I was like, our boys are playing football. And they're going to play soccer and they're going to play baseball, and we're going to put them in everything that they can possibly, and we're going to push them, and we're going to have all these, we're going to have 3 sport athletes that are all going to be pro in three sports. That's what you're thinking when you're a young dad. And she said, well, what if they like to play? I call it horking on a clarinet. She's like, what if they want to play an instrument? I'm like, my boys are not horking on clarinets, man. And so our agreement was.
So do you have 2 boys and 1 girl?
2 boys. Yeah. 2 boys are older. And then I have a 23-year-old married. I have a 19-year-old on a mission. And then I have a 15-year-old sophomore in high school. Okay. And that's the girl is the 15-year-old. And so but again, they're all very different. And so my oldest is, and this is probably pretty cocky as a dad, but he's probably the smartest person that you would ever bump into in your life. My wife didn't know what to do with him when he was 14, 15 years old as a parent, because he's smarter than us, which is it's a tough thing to swallow.
Looking forward to that if that happens.
And so we pushed him in sports because academically we couldn't push him. I sat in his counselor's office his sophomore year, and this counselor's like, you got to take 3 more electives. And he's like, well, can I take AP physics as an elective? And the teacher's like, you can take whatever you want as elective, but really? And he's like, yeah. So that he took AP classes. Those are his electives. But we got him he played football through his freshman year because dad wanted him to play football. We finally let him quit the beginning of his sophomore year. We let him quit football. But he had picked up lacrosse. So he was a 2-sport athlete in his freshman year. And he picked up lacrosse, I think, in 7th grade. And we let him continue with that. And that was his struggle. He was good. He's athletic. He's coordinated. But by no means is he the stud on any field that he gets on. And so we had agreed that they all have to do something hard. And we raised them with them saying, our mantra to them is that we're Ereksons, we do hard stuff. And so our middle son, he had to get good grades. So we pushed him to make sure that he was getting good grades, because socially he was everybody's buddy. And so it wasn't like he could go to lacrosse. He didn't care if he was good at lacrosse, or good at football. He just wanted to be everybody's friend and participate. And he was good, but that was like vacation for him, was going to practice. And so we made him do hard things by doing school. And then our daughter, she hates school. She's sick a lot, so she has a tough time with school. She's super smart. She's almost as smart as her older brother, academically, but she misses so much school that she struggles. Hers is her hard thing. She plays lacrosse, but that's not a hard thing that we make her do. She has anxiety. And so her hard thing is we make her snowmobile, and we make her ride motorcycles, and we make her ride dirt bikes, and we make her do all these things that dad loves to do that she grows with, but they're hard for her first mentally, because she's scared of it. And we say, we do hard things. We do things that we're scared of. And so I get to play a little bit, and it's fun to see as a parent to look at your kid come up to a wall and bump into it and figure out a way to get around, over, or through that wall, no matter what the problem is. There's nothing that you enjoy more than that. There's nothing that makes me, so as a parent, as a dad, my wife and most people in our ward at church and stuff like that, they talk to my wife. She's an absolute sweetheart. And most people don't talk to me because I'm this gruff guy that doesn't show a ton of emotion. But dude, I cry in a second when I see my kids get through a wall or get around it. And I'm watching her we had her on a mountain bike team for a little bit, and watching her race and finish these really hard races that she's in tears because she's in so much pain. You know, you're racing 5-mile loops, and she's doing multiple loops, and I'm in tears at the end of it. And lucky that I have sunglasses on, you know, and my wife's just like, you're such a baby. Exactly.
No one knows.
No one knows. And I'm crying, and my wife is over. She knows what's going on, and she's like, your dad just needs a minute. And I'm just crying because I'm so happy that she's finished. But everything else, like I'm the straight-faced mean guy until my kids accomplish stuff. And hopefully that's a good reason for me to tear up. But I've done it, football games, lacrosse games, mountain bike races. There's been so many instances where I see my kids do things that I know that aren't normal for them to do, and to get out of their shell. And I'm so proud of it.
I love that answer. The way you explain that, how you approach it differently with every kid. I've never heard anyone else explain it that way, but it gets me excited to figure out the challenge for my kids. You know, I mean, they're still young, but I already know my 5-year-old has absolutely zero speed, so that might be the biggest challenge. No,
there's always defense in lacrosse or goalie.
Yeah. Well, so I come from a big time wrestling family.
Oh, wow.
So he's wrestling, and I'm like, well, you don't have to be a fast runner to be a good wrestler. So there's that. But he's the absolute slowest kid in practice. It drives me nuts.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's so funny. Yeah. Speaking of hardship, fatherhood's pretty hard.
Yes, it is.
What's one of the most surprising lessons that you've learned in fatherhood? Or I guess one of the hardest lessons.
Oh, man. I think humility is probably a hard one for me that I've had to learn.
So you already had patience.
Yeah, patience. Yeah.
I don't know. You said you saw Tyler's episode, so.
Oh yeah,
he just cracks me up because I've heard him, talk about Archie. I'm like, dude, just wait.
Yeah, it's funny when I saw his wife today, and with Archie, and Archie was walking around, and I was like, oh, you're gonna regret the fact that he's walking now. And she's like, well, I haven't yet because he crawled faster than he walks. And I'm like, just wait. that's when you really get patience is when they are little like
Mm-hmm.
that. But I would say humility. Like you can be, if you're a good dad or a good parent, you can be the wealthiest person in the world, and your kid still blows out in the backseat of the car on your way to go somewhere that's important, and you've only got one outfit and you got to figure it out.
Yeah.
And you have to figure it out. And so you're getting dirty, you're getting messy, and it humbles you a little bit, no matter how special you think you are as a person.
You speaking from experience?
Oh man, so many experiences of that.
So many blowouts.
So many blowouts. But, or like, you have the best advice ever as a dad. You know everything you've done. You have teenagers, you've seen it all. Back in my day, this is what I did, and this works. And your kid turns to you and says something that you're just like, it just catches you off and humbles you as a parent. That happens still to this day. But I could tell you 100 stories of being shocked at things that my kids have done or said, or instances where you don't think that you would ever have to deal with this, and you're dealing with it as a parent, and you work through it. And it's what people don't recognize is when you're a kid, it's just as hard that your parents, what they're doing, as it is for you as a kid. You're both learning.
Yeah.
And there's tons of books out there, but none of them are right. None of them can tell you how your specific kid or kids are going to react to different situations, and you have to figure it out. There's no dog training manual. That's why you can't be a dog parent. Yeah. Because you can train your dog, but you can't train your kids.
Yeah. You still can't ask ChatGPT either.
No, you cannot.
So, do you still have moments where you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing?
Yeah, man. So my daughter's going to listen to this and she's going to give me a hard time, but boys are the easiest thing in the world when you have a girl. I love my daughter so much, but dude, they're a completely different animal than a dad. And I would never trade her, give her up, do anything. I see these videos of moms. They're like, would you kill for your kid? And they're like, ooh, kill for my kid. Oh, dude, I would rip your head out and eat your face for my kids. And so I love her to death, but I learned so much from her. And half the time I'm like, I have no idea what to do with you. Because a boy, when they're little, it's a snap. It's a loud noise. It's a, hey, check yourself. Because you know what's going to happen. And they're a little bit intimidated of it. And a little girl's like, what's going to happen, Dad? Show me what's going to happen, you know? And you're just like, the two boys never questioned me on this before. And so she teaches me to this day just patience and love. And it actually is like, the saying like that people say, you don't know what true love is until you've felt the pain. I wouldn't say that she's hurt me bad enough that I felt the pain, but she definitely teaches me a lot of lessons in patience. And she teaches me deeper love, I think. And I don't think I could have had it without a girl. I'm so glad and blessed that we had the one that we have. I love the fact that we have her, but it's completely different than a boy and makes me question my decisions that I make.
Yeah. I have a 2-year-old daughter, and I'm already like, last week I was like, what am I going to do when she's 14 or 15? I'm so screwed.
It's so bad.
Because she's a little princess, but she'll punch you in the face if she needs to too. Like she's got a big brother that's body slamming her. Like,
yeah, that's the hard part, is that the big brothers make it tough. And so our family, our signs of affection are not hugs and kisses. And so like her big brother calls her smelly. And that's normal for us. Like on my drive here, she calls me and she's like, hey, we're just leaving this. She had voice lessons. She's like, we're just leaving voice lessons, and I wanted to talk Mom into taking me out to get wings. And I like wings, so she knows if I can get Dad on my side, then we can go get wings. And I was like, no, I don't think wings is a good idea. And I was like, why don't you do a sandwich? And she's like, oh, I was thinking the same thing. Tell Mom to take me to Jimmy John's. And I'm like, no, I have a bunch of sandwich stuff at home. And she's like, well, I made a sandwich last night and it wasn't good. And so my response of affection was, it's because you suck at making sandwiches. Get better at making sandwiches. And my And she's like, that was rude. It was her response, knowing what I'm really telling her. And I can hear my wife in the background. Did he just tell you that you suck at making sandwiches? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, I knew that's exactly what your dad would say to that thing. And so, yeah, it's tough with that. And she's rough, man. She's got 2 older brothers that she's wrestled with. She's fought with.
Yeah.
She's trying to find her place. And she definitely
2 older brothers, and she's the youngest. I mean,
and she's the youngest. And they say she's so spoiled that it's not fair she gets all these things. And my wife says that she's got me completely wrapped around her finger, and it's probably all true. But she's the baby and she's a girl, and so she gets motorcycles. I'm sorry. Yeah.
That's awesome. So from what I understand, you're a business owner.
I am.
It's one of the most challenging career paths. It's and you're in custom home building.
Yes.
It's a high demand business.
Yes.
You have people, I'm sure it's hard to even get a hold of you because you have people ringing your phone 24/7.
Some days it is very hard to, just make a phone call.
Yeah. So how do you balance time with family, growing the business, providing for your family, all of it?
So the business owner thing for me is new. I'm only about 1.5 years into it. Before that, we moved here in 2013, and I've been running the construction arm of my brother-in-law's company that he had. And we had grown it from a mom and pop shop. When I showed up, it was him and his wife. We built over 5,000 doors in just under, about 10 or 11 years, which most national builders are trying to get to those numbers.
That's crazy.
I mean, you really got to get top 10 builders in the country to get to that. And so, or to beat that, I'm sorry. So, but I was the guy that managed it. So I was flying to Arizona and flying to Texas and flying to Idaho and driving and doing all that. And my work-life balance was already horrible. And the job previous to that was construction as well, doing hospitals and high rises. And so I came out of college working 70 hours a week as normal. Mm-hmm. I did that for 10 years. Then we moved here, and then was working more than that because the phone didn't stop ringing. I'd take phone calls at 9, 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. Those people don't care.
Nope. Nobody cares. And I mean, I had an owner of a rental property that called me at 2:30 in the morning, and I answered it. And I drove out there and met them to look at what they wanted to look at. And it all doesn't get handled until at least, I mean, the guys don't start answering their phones until 7:30.
Yeah.
And so I can't solve anything for 5 hours, but I went out there and met them at 2:30 in the morning, and we figured out a game plan and got on it right away. And that's just that's the work-life balance that you have. I always treated the company that I was running as if it was my own. And so I spent the time that an owner would spend on it. At least that's what I felt I was doing. I wish I was there more for my kids, but it's hard, man. And now it's just the same amount of time. It's nice because it's my time now as opposed to somebody else's time.
Yeah.
I think my wife was always welcome, but now that it's my business, she just pops in. And it took, we're 1.5 years into it. It took her 6 to 9 months to actually start. Like, I think one day she was like, I want to come and visit you. And I'm like,
you can.
I'm like, it's your house too. Both of our names are on the bottom of of the note, Yeah. And so now I see her every Wednesday. We do videos. We do YouTube videos or Instagram, social media videos, because that's what you're supposed to be doing to advertise. And so she does all my videography. She is a professional photographer. And so
perfect.
Oh yeah. So it was perfect. She had all the gear, and we were just talking about it actually this afternoon. Like, absolutely love doing the videos. We almost get divorced every single time because she says things to me.
It's like backing up a boat.
Exactly.
It's gonna happen.
Exactly. Yeah. So she says, we were talking about today, and she's like, what do I say that's mean? And I'm like, you always tell me, don't make that face, or don't put your hand like that. And I'm like, I'm just being me. And she's like, yeah, but I'm making you better. And she is. So it works. So, but it's fun. It's so fun I like to work. And so I enjoy it. So the more hours I'm working, I like to get my kids out there and have them come and help. And my daughter, now that my boys are gone, she comes and sweeps basements with me and sweeps houses with me and picks up trash around houses. And I'm busy and I got to go do something. And she loves to come with me and participate. And I think that's the important thing, is spending time with your kids. And I hate yard work, so we don't mow the lawn together, and I don't make my kids pull weeds. But I do expect them to come and have fun with me working, and they get to see how fun it is to actually accomplish things.
Was being a business owner a vision that you had previously, or did it kind of just happen? Or tell me about that story.
No, I've always wanted it. Ever since I was in college, I wanted to own my own construction company. I came out of college at the beginning of the downturn, like 07, 06, 07. And we could see I was about to start my own residential company. We could see what was happening. And I luckily had a very good contact in the construction industry that got me a commercial job, or at least got my foot in the door. And
were you married by then?
Yes, I was married before I went to college.
Okay.
I was a very bad kid. And then I met my wife. And then I went to college, so I did it kind of backwards. I was young when we started having kids, but old when I graduated. I forgot what we were talking about.
Just your timeline of you got hired on.
Oh yeah, so I got hired on for commercial, and I'd wanted to do it, got into commercial, and then just got comfortable. I think I was working crazy hours, but I had a really good job.
Yeah. And
then I had the opportunity to come here to work with my brother-in-law, and he'd already done the hard work, right? Like he's a 100% entrepreneur. I don't think he's ever worked for anybody else. So he'd already done all the hard stuff. So I came in with him and got to run his business in this machine, and he could build these machines like crazy. And so he built the machine around everything that I could, what I could handle and run, and then brought in people when it was too much for me to run. And as we grew, and it was great. And then the time came to go on my own, and it was the scariest thing I've ever done.
Really?
Oh yeah. Because I have people that I have to care for.
Yep.
And I haven't gotten a paycheck in a year and a half.
Yeah.
And that's very scary. Money comes in, but I don't have a paycheck. Yeah. And you're so used to the paycheck that comes every 2 weeks.
Yep.
And you can rely on it, and you can look at your wife and say, hey, we're budgeting right now. We're trying to get through, but in a week, another paycheck's coming through, and now it could be a month or two, and the checks are bigger, but they're sometimes 6 to 12 months away from when you're actually there thinking about it and having to budget. So, it's so scary, but I wouldn't give it up. I think I 100% believe that I made the right choice.
Any interesting comparisons you've noticed between business ownership and fatherhood?
Yeah, we're all just winging it.
Heck yeah.
Everybody does it different. There's literally 1,000 ways to skin the cat, and we all do it different.
There's no one right way to run a business.
There is no one right way to run a business. And you see these people that do. I'm not a self-help book reader, or the guys that write books about how they made it and were successful. I know a lot of people that read those books and they love them. I don't, because that's how it worked for them. I like to talk to people and hear their advice, but I don't need their whole life story, just because I don't think that it'll 100% work for me. But I do talk to successful people and try to glean the little bits that might apply. But yeah, they definitely have parallels of, there's a lot of lessons that you don't know what you don't know. Right. And so,
yeah,
as a business owner, there's so much that you have no idea. And, you just don't you would run into completely different things than I run into. I parallel it back to, as a builder, we love to bash on each other. And so you've probably experienced it. Your air conditioner or your heater, mainly your air conditioner breaks, and you call a tech, and he comes out, and he comes in and he looks at the air conditioner and he goes, well, I can tell you why it broke. Is because the original installer 7 years ago did it this way. And that's totally the wrong way to do it. Right. That's the construction world. We all do it different. There probably is 20 different ways to do that install, and every single one of them's correct. And you could have 20 guys come in, and they're all going to tell you the guy before him did it wrong. And so once you realize that as a parent and in business, it's like there's so many different ways to do it successfully. You just have to do it honestly. The only thing is that you have to be honest in business. With your kids, you have to be honest, but you also have to love and support and be a good dad. And so, but yeah, I definitely have lessons that I've learned from being a dad that apply to me in business.
Do you have any advice for the younger generation that's wanting to either one, be a business owner, or two, get into the construction business as an employee or owner?
Yeah. So as an owner, I say do it. It's the scariest thing ever. It's funny how many times you talk to people that aren't business owners and they can tell you exactly what you need to do, or they can tell you how other people or how you were successful. You got successful because you did this and this and this. And it's like, you don't know half the story of what happened for me to get successful. And so you just got to jump in with both feet and do it. And I would recommend it in construction. Jump in. I tell my middle boy who's on a mission now, jump in, come with me. Let's do this together. Let's continue to grow this business.
That's one of the coolest parts about owning a business is being able to help loved ones.
Exactly.
Like invite them into work with you, like I look forward to that with my kids a lot.
Yeah. What do you do?
We build sports courts.
Oh yeah. So exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you jump in, you do it, you can bring them, you can show them what you do.
Yeah.
They can learn a ton of life lessons from it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, so the comparison for being a parent and being a business owner is when my first oldest was born, I had no options. You can't put it back in.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're both feet, full body, everything you're jumping in.
Yeah.
And for a business owner, you got to do the same thing. You have to envision it as this baby that I have that I'm going to grow. I'm jumping in with both feet.
Yeah.
And I have to treat it as if I have no other options. And that's what's going to help you be successful in you growing that business from infancy, is jumping with both feet, because you don't have another option.
Yeah. I love that. If you could look into a box with everything you've ever lost in your life, what's the first thing you would look for?
Everything I've ever lost is in that box?
Mm-hmm. Physical or non-physical?
What would I look for that I've lost? Oh man, my knees. That sounds funny, but I've actually was talking about it
every tradesman in the world, just like,
yes,
amen.
So I was in 1998, 1997 and 1998, and then coming into the 2000s, I was a sponsored snowboarder.
Okay.
And doing that, I had like everybody else did. He was 14, 15 at the time, maybe. Young redheaded kid named Sean White coming up that discouraged everything that I was doing because he was faster and better than all of us that were that age that were trying to grow and be better. And I think that I blew my knees out and I couldn't do it anymore. Now I can barely stand on a snowboard, and I if I could get that back and enjoy that again, that's probably one thing. Just a relief from work, a relief from life is what that is kind of for me, or was. And so that's what I would probably pick, is something that I can have my knees back.
That's a great answer.
So can't wakeboard, can't do any of the fun stuff. So
one of my first episodes that I had that question in mind. It was my buddy who lost his leg. And I was like, I better not ask it.
It would have been a good question. He might not have even said that, though.
That's true. Maybe I'll have to ask him.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the happiest you've ever been is the happiest you'll ever be?
Oh, no. We're waiting for grandkids.
There you go.
I'll be way happier. Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. I've been very, very happy before. Again, I'm not saying that I have a disappointing life at all. A very blessed life, but the lesson I've learned is that every time I think that I'm at the happiest, I've learned that it just gets better.
Yeah.
And so it just gets better. Like,
Well, I'd hope your answer is always no.
oh
And
yeah,
my
me too.
answer, you know, like,
Yeah,
it's kind of if you're not living, you're dying. So
exactly. Yeah. And I'm blessed to have a wonderful, amazing wife. And so we get to stare at each other alone because our 15-year-old ditches us on weekends. And like,
I can't even imagine what that's like.
oh man, it's extremely awkward. It's tough. You feel like a loser because like in
Yeah,
high school I had
like too
friends.
cool for you
Yeah,
now.
I always had friends. I was hanging out in high school. Then you go and you meet a girl, and we always hung out. And then we get married, and then you have friends that we always hang out with. And then you're like, yeah, we're cool. Like we're cool parents. And you're raising your kids. You're like, we're cool. And they bring their friends over, and you're like, we're the cool parents. All the kids are coming to our house and hanging out. And then they leave, and you're like, wait, we're not. I thought we were cool. And they're like, no, mom and dad, you are not cool.
Yeah.
So but then we get to look at each other. And that's where I say it, like sitting at home watching a movie with your wife, like it's been 22, 23 years since we did that
Mm-hmm.
and didn't worry about anybody. And so it's so nice to just be able to sit down and read and be happy in peace. And I look forward to that moving forward. And I look forward to all of the things that grandparenthood can bring. I've had so many people. I had a bunch of my friends, because of how old we are having grandkids now, and so I think we have a little bit of jealousy going on with me, at least. But we see the things they're doing. But we always hear like the reason you have kids, the kids are there. You suffering is you prepaying for grandkids, and so
Put that on a shirt.
yeah, I want.
Awesome.
I feel like I've prepaid plenty.
Well, maybe you'll have a lot of grandkids in.
I don't know.
Maybe it directly correlates.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Cool. Was there any other lessons or insights that you want to share that you feel like people need to know?
Yeah, you just got to, the only thing I would say is you just got to love them, man. Like they're all so different that this keeps popping in my head as we're talking. I had this extremely eye-opening moment when I was a parent. I'm 2 years out of college. We have our 2 boys. Our youngest is not born yet. And my middle son he was getting to something. He was, oh, I know, it's a part of the story. So we're living in this skinny townhome. It's like 10 feet wide, 3 stories tall. And we're on the main floor. And we're like, hey, go upstairs and get in your pajamas. So our oldest boy, who's super smart, always a really good listener, runs up, pajamas, he's down, hanging out on the couch, whatever we were doing, playing a game, I don't know. And the younger boy runs up, and we're like, after 5 to 6 minutes, we're like, where is this kid at? Like, What is he doing? So we wait 10, 15 minutes. I'm like, I'm going to go up there and check on him. So I go upstairs, and he is butt naked. He has, they don't have like a true, like, what do they call it? Like a chest of drawers or whatever, or like a dresser. We have like, it's like plastic pull-out drawers.
Like bins or whatever.
Yeah, like almost bins, but they're like in their own shelf, right?
Yeah.
He has it pulled out and butt naked, and he's peeing into his pajama drawer. Dude, I, as a dad, lost it. That's the only time I think that I've actually lost it on my kids. And he had taught me a few months earlier to not, so we spanked our kids because we were that generation for up to this point, you know, so he's still young. He's probably 3 or 4 at this time. And we had just stopped spanking him. And my wife and I were trying to come up with other punishments you got to make him suffer, right? Is what you're thinking as a parent, and you're pissed. And so I grab him. He's already naked. So I throw him in the shower, and I turn on the cold water. And we're in a townhome. And so the neighbors can hear him just screaming in the cold water. He's not going to die. And my wife's coming up the stairs now because she knows that I'm up, and she's laughing. She doesn't know what happened. All she knows is that she's laughing because I'm pissed about something, and it's probably ridiculous. And she comes in to find, and she's like, what's going on? And I'm like, he was peeing in his pajama drawer. And she's just now like on the floor rolling and saves her boy from me. And the insight as a dad at that moment of like, it doesn't matter. Like, how am I so mad right now? And my wife can't get up off the ground. She's laughing so hard. like, it doesn't matter. They're kids. They're learning, like I said, just the same as we are.
Yeah.
And you have to be patient with them in their way of learning. And the best thing you can do is figure out how they learn the best and try to feed them that way. So the reason we stopped spanking them ties to the same story. Same kid. He taught me a lot of lessons. He did something that, and my wife and I always said, if we're going to spank our kids, we're not going to do it in anger. So if you're mad, the other one has to do it. And so I don't even remember what it was, but it was like, hey, we don't throw blocks at our brother or something like that. So you're going to get spanked. And so I spanked him. And the whole time I spanked him like 2 times. And the whole time I'm doing it, I'm thinking, like, is this child abuse? Am I abusing my kid? Because I was like like my dad, I grew up in a younger generation, and our parents, like my mom hit us with a wooden paddle because she couldn't spank us hard enough, right, with her hand. And my dad spanked us hard with his hand. And so I'm spanking my kid, and I'm like, this is, something's got to be wrong with what I'm doing. And I stop, and he turns around and looks me in my eyes, and he goes, "Are you done?" And I was like, that's when it clicked. I'm like, this isn't what you're supposed to do.
Mm.
And so we started to, my wife, she does it to me now. Now it's my punishment. She pinches me on the inside of the leg. But we do small things, and they know when we're mad, which means that they're not doing the right thing. And they're smart. And I think that they react more to our hurt as their parents than they do to our anger and lashing out to try to show them, like, hey, you made my heart hurt, so now I'm going to make you hurt. Now they can see that our heart hurts, and I think their heart hurts as well.
Interesting.
And so it's, I don't know, just patience, love them. You just got to love them and love them and love them, and don't let them cry at the grocery store. That's the most annoying thing ever.
Yep.
We leave. We left. My wife would leave.
Stores and airplanes.
Oh yeah. My wife, I think one of our kids threw a fit on the grocery store floor. Like I've seen so many before, and she full on left. She was like, "See ya," and just went to the next aisle, peeked around. So he couldn't see her, and she peeked around, and she's like, he finally sat up and looked around and was like, "Wait, nobody cares that I'm throwing this fit?" And never again did he throw a fit at a grocery store. And maybe that's just our kid that had that realization and didn't do it at that point. But yeah, we don't worry about things like that. We don't let them have the control of that situation, but then we love them. So
awesome. Well, I end every podcast with the same question, and that is, if there's one lesson you want to leave with your family when you're no longer here, what is that lesson?
Work hard. It's no matter what you're doing, work hard. So no matter what it is. So whether you want the nicest yard in the neighborhood, if that's what's important to you, work hard at it. If you want to be a professional golfer, then work hard at it. But that's probably the most important thing in my mind is, as a parent, what I would want any of my family to be instilled in them is to work hard, be honest, and work hard.
I love it. And I completely agree. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast and sharing your stories and insights, and really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, man. This was awesome.
Cool.